From Los Angeles, I'm Brad Lamack. Welcome back to segment 3 with Los Angeles-based casting director and a nice guy, Michael Donovan, who will, people say, oh, he'll spoil us because they're going to think that every casting director is like this man.
They're not?
Well, after when the cameras aren't running, we'll talk about that. I'm Brad Lamack. I wrote a book called The Business of Acting to help empower actors on their career journey with a discussion and some lessons about that, well, you need to take care of business, not just know how to memorize lines and that sort of thing. And so that's what The Business of Acting is all about. This series, Inside the Business of Acting, is here to let you sit in on conversations with working actors and people who are pros in the industry, who have a perspective and a career journey on their own and their own lessons learned along the way that we are sharing with you to make you jump and skip a little quicker to get where it is that you want. The audition process is it can be very daunting, and I want to give these folks some nuts and bolts kind of advice. So we talked about in segment 1, I think that we've got 2 kinds of actors who are listening in. I also think, by the way, if you're not an actor and you're just a person who's interested in what happens behind the scenes, we love that, and that we're on the worldwide, whatever you call it, you can be anywhere and you watching this, and so that I think is just enormously exciting. But for actors who are just beginning, they're making the transition from student to professional, or for actors who have been working actors or in the business for a long time and find that their careers are kind of stuck.
Stalled.
Yeah. Those actors rarely are willing to or think that there's a need for looking inward, that maybe some stuff they are doing has caused the landscape to change for them. And for young actors coming out of school and starting the career, I think that they come out slightly clueless because the schools are doing a great job at teaching them the methods and the ways and the nuts and bolts of blocking and moving and theater. Creating a character and all that stuff. And I think that's important. But applying that to the real world in ways that won't screw you up and derail your journey along the way, I think is a huge responsibility that, you go, why isn't that happening? Well, that's what The Business of Acting is all about. What are some of the biggest mistakes that you see actors at any stage make in the audition process when they come in to audition for you?
Well, before we go to that, I would say it is important to be in class. The reason why that's important is because the teachers who are teaching in the major cities where there's entertainment, like New York and Los Angeles, can teach you about what is expected of you in today's current market and what you need to be, which changes constantly. Right. And the other thing, dovetailing on that, the actor who's been in the business for a while is still maybe doing his or her bag of tricks that worked when they were 25 and now they're 35 and it's not working anymore, and that's why they need to be in class for a teacher to go, what are you doing? Because that's not appropriate. That's something that's either out of date or doesn't work for you because you're older than that now, and so on and so on. And then also what happens is the people who are in the industry, at least on the West Coast, do check in with these teachers that are respected, and say, is this person blah, 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 tell me what you think about this person. So I think that's very important. Okay. So now, in terms of getting started, what are the mistakes actors make? I think the tools are the first mistake. Having a picture that doesn't look like you. Having a picture that was in those couple of moments under that lighting and with that makeup and this, you look stunning, and it's like, but you don't really look like that, So like, I want to
Why are you looking at me?
Right, I know. Yeah, exactly. You should see the headshot. Anyway, no, I mean, I want to hold the picture up in my hand and go, yeah, of course. I don't want to go, really? Because that's what I do a lot. I kind of go, why are you? So you're going out on things that you're not right for because we think you look like this, and missing the things that you are right for because you look like this. So the picture should look like you, first and foremost. The resume should be really easy to read. Samuel French, which is a bookstore for actors and is also online, has a ton of examples that you can get that show different kinds of resumes.
There's a fabulous
I bet you there's some in the business of acting, I'll
in
bet.
the business of acting.
Okay.
Which I just happen to have
that.
of.
Who wrote that?
You know, the picture, speaking of pictures.
How old is this
no,
picture?
You know, the Nixon
Dear God.
administration.
Oh my God.
That was the new edition will have a color.
I hope so. Picture should be color. Thank you. Let's go back to that.
Yes. Now.
Absolutely.
But
because
that was a huge.
It was a big change.
That was a revolution because the domino effect of what that did and the digital age of how things are submitted now. I mean, it's changed a lot of industries.
Changed a lot of things. The reason it has to be color in brief because everything comes in online now, and on your computer screen you get pictures that are about the size of a postage stamp.
Yeah.
Okay. So if they're black and white, you kind of have a tendency to vanish, in a sea of color. So it also gives us things like eye color, hair color, skin tone, things like that. So it's really informative to see you in color. And then where's I going to go with that? So then the resume too. Now the resume has to be clear, easy to read, and no lies.
I was just going to say truthful. It has to be truthful because you understand why that happens, right?
Oh yeah.
An actor thinks they don't really have enough, and say, oh, the resume helps us identify what kind of an actor they are at this point in their career.
Absolutely.
And so they want to take that extra. I would get this question. Well, I was an extra. I'm going to call it. No,
you're an extra.
Right.
And it shouldn't be on the resume. Yeah. So you kind of understand what's appropriate and what isn't appropriate. Your credits, how you list them, and this will be obviously a number of the books will list this, but how you list a film credit is different than how you list a theater credit. In Hamlet, you weren't lead. In Hamlet, you were Hamlet, okay, or whatever.
Yeah.
Where television you might be guest star, co-star, and there's all different ways of listing that. I want your special skills to be honest and to be defined. Are you a person who plays piano by ear, or are you a classically trained pianist? Do you speak some French? Do you speak conversational French? Do you speak fluent French? Are you a bunny slope skier, or are you a black diamond skier? And so on and so on and so on. Define your skills. Because, if it's like, one line in French in a commercial, and you have some French on your resume, you're probably going to be fine. But if you're doing 30 seconds of a script that's going to go to play in France, you better be fluent.
But this is a big issue because most of it was Spanish, right? Because there's so much stuff that's being
Spanish
done
market is
bilingual
exploding.
now.
Exploding.
So it would almost make sense, even for an actor who is not right now as we speak, bilingual or conversational even in Spanish. That's a good class to take in addition to all of the other things.
If you're Latino, I think you should absolutely be bilingual if possible because you're just opening up a whole other world. There's programming being done in Spanish. Commercials are done in both English and in Spanish. That's 2 commercials. That's 2 session fees, 2 sets of residuals. So it's a whole world. So
what kind of a mistake, or what kind of mistakes do actors make in the waiting room? Are there behavioral things that come up that can sort of say, you ain't gonna get this job?
The waiting room is a very dangerous place.
Now, you should have run a camera in the waiting room. That would be a good
reality show. We talked about that, actually, because what you see in there is pretty amazing. The waiting room is a place where you look across at that actor who you're competing against and go, man, he's all over the tube. He's got guest stars. He's got, and I don't have anything, so forget it. They're going to book him. I don't have a chance, okay? Meanwhile, those 2 actors come in, and the first actor, my clients go, I see him all the time, but a new face, great. But the new face has already given it away because the new face has decided not going to happen, okay? The waiting room is where one actor, whether being mean or just being, so nervous, they're chatting with you and they're keeping you really busy and you're next and you're trying to be polite, but they're distracting the hell out of you and, and it's your job to say, can we chat later or let's get a cup of coffee later or something, okay, and get back.